Welcome to another episode of the Blemished Beauty Podcast. This podcast was designed with you in mind. If you're ready to erase the norm and embrace the truth, come pull up a chair, grab a journal, and tell a friend that your favorite Jersey girl is back with another episode. So let's get into it.
Hey y'all. So I'm super duper excited. One, because this is the first video for the Blemish Beauty Podcast. Yay! And today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Reverend James H. Glover III. I love saying that. I had to have James be my first guest because James is one of the people that I feel the most comfortable with. So, in order for me to get through this process easily, I said, let's just go with James, okay? So I'm gonna give y'all a little synopsis on him really quick, and then we're gonna bring him to the stage. Reverend James H. Glover III. He is a pastor, a podcast host, a son, and most of all, he is the little brother in my head. James and I met in this Facebook group for podcasters, and literally ever since our first conversation, we have been joined to the hip. So I felt it was only right, since June is Men's Health Awareness Month, to bring him on here for an episode entitled Heartfelt Advice. Because even though James is the youngest out of the After Show Vibes crew, he is wise beyond his years. So I'm excited to hear what he has to say to the generation. So allow me, after this brief interlude, to bring Reverend James H. Glover III to the stage. Hey, bro.
What is up, sissy? Oh my goodness, what is
I'm
going on?
excited.
Let me first start this off by saying how honored I am to be your first guest on
Yay.
the video side of
I'm
things. I am
excited.
excited for you, and I'm extremely proud of you for everything that you have
Thank
accomplished.
you.
I'm like a proud little brother at this moment, like watching you blossom. Like as I was listening to that intro video, I was just over here vibing. I'm like, hey, that is
It's always a
clean.
vibe when we get together.
Exactly. So I'm excited about being on here.
I'm excited too. So, first of all, let me just ask you a question I'm going to ask every guest that comes on the show. Who is James H. Glover III?
James H. Glover III is a man after God's own heart. He's a son, he's a preacher, he's a pastor, he's a podcaster, but most of all, he's a human being that loves to have fun. He loves to chill. He loves to hang out. Like I just am a regular guy at the end of the day.
So, June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Got to say that real slow. And, as men, you guys are brought up to be tough, and you can't cry, you can't do all the things. So I want to know, how is your mental health right now?
Man, my mental health is good because I have learned to find things to where I can be myself. Kind of find things that don't have anything to do with ministry, but will help me along the way. So my mental health is good right now. Now it ain't always been like that, but right now I can say it's good.
So what roles does having good mental health play in your life, and how important is it to practice self-care?
Man, mental health is the most. Besides spiritual health, mental health is the next thing that's the most important. You know, everybody says, "Oh, A lot of times people over spiritualize things. All I need is Jesus. All I need is Jesus. That is true. Jesus is all you need. But sometimes, let's keep it real, some of us need Jesus and therapy. Let's keep it real because we need to get to that point to where we are tired, where we stop being so prideful and admit, you know what, I don't have it all together. You know what, right now I don't have all the answers. You know what, right now I'm not where I need to be. And especially as preachers, a lot of the times what we are doing is we are standing behind God's sacred desk and we are dealing with things in our own life, but we are bleeding on the congregation because of the
Absolutely.
simple fact of we aren't taking the time to really check on ourselves and make sure we're straight. So self care plays a big part. You need something in there where it doesn't have anything to do with ministry, where you can just
Something
be
that
yourself.
grounds you. Hmm.
Oh yeah,
So, how do you maintain your sense of identity in a world that may not understand it or appreciate it?
that's a good question. The way I understand, the way I maintain my identity is I have stopped trying to be what everybody else wants me to be and just be who God has called me to be. Let me just be real. I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And there comes a point to where you got to get to that point to where you are like, you know what, it's either you or me. And if what you are doing is hurting me and is not helping me get to where I need to get to, I'm stepping away.
Yeah, and that's the whole purpose of this podcast because you have to be your authentic self. Because when you're your authentic self, you give your true tribe the opportunity to attach themselves to you. When you're pretending to be something that you're not, other things are attaching to you. And when everything doesn't align, that's usually the reason why. So that's awesome that you said that. What is one piece of advice you wish you had received when you were younger?
It's okay not to be okay.
Mm.
Growing up, you was always taught you just push through it. You deal
Mm-hmm.
with it. You'll be okay. You'll get over it after a while. You'll be okay. You'll deal with it. You'll deal with it. You'll deal with it. And up until my mid 20s, early 30s, that was my motto. Yo, I'll be okay. I'll deal with my pain later on. But there comes a point to where you got to be like, you know what? My pain needs to be dealt with right now.
Right.
Because if you don't deal with it now, what happens is we get to that point to where the simplest thing will make us snap off. And others around us are looking like, what? That made them snap off? And to be all the way 100, it wasn't even that situation that made us snap
Exactly.
off. It was
Mm-hmm.
that situation was just the domino effect. That was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Somebody could just look at you the wrong way and you snapping off. But
Absolutely.
we have to get to that point to where we are letting people know, like, yo, what you doing ain't cool. What you doing is hurting me. What you doing, I'm not a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to realize that we have a voice. And the minute we realize that we have a voice, the better off we're going to be.
I agree with that because a lot of the times people walk around here and you know that saying, you act like your stuff don't stink. They act like that because nobody told them that it actually stinks. So we have to hold people accountable and say, well, maybe not for everybody else, but for me, this or how you're acting stinks and I don't like it, nor will I tolerate it. And that's also a key indicator if people are really a part of your tribe because they will accept it and work with you or just leave you alone. So, yeah, I agree with you on that too. How do you
Yes.
define success and what steps do you take to achieve it?
Success to me is finally being at a point to where I'm never gonna be at the point where I'm completely satisfied. I finally have realized that. But getting to a point to where I can spend more time with family. Success for me is spending time with the ones that I love. Success for me is watching others thrive in the spaces that I have watched them struggle in the past. Success for me is watching others reach their utmost level. Because what good is it if I have all of this information? If I'm doing all of these great things, what good is it if I'm not helping somebody else along the way? I don't want to be a gatekeeper. Like, I want to pull others with me. Like, with me and you, for instance, when we first linked up and clicked, I knew we was gonna be doing something together because I'm like, she too powerful right now. Her voice
Oh,
need to be heard. I'm about to pull her, kicking and screaming, but I'm pulling her to that next level that she needs to be to because I see the greatness in her. And now look at you, like that's it. I gotta make an appointment just to talk to my sister, but
it's
it
not
is
like
what it
that.
is.
So, in what ways can you suggest Black women and Black men empower themselves in today's society? Like, there's so many examples, whether good or bad, on social media. So, what ways can you suggest them to empower themselves? You know, you being a man of God, of course, prayer is one. But what are
Mhm.
some other ways we can empower ourselves and show up as our authentic self?
The way we can empower each other is number one, realize the role that we have in each other's life and thrive in it. Realize why we was put into each other's life. A woman was not put on this earth to be a man, and a man was not put on this earth to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Realize the role that you play, realize the way that you play it, and succeed in your role. Like case in point, if we playing basketball and I am supposed to be the point guard, but I want to play the center, and
Right,
you supposed to be the shooting guard and you want to play the power forward. We are not going to be successful because we are going into other roles that God did not ordain us to be
right,
in.
right.
But if I'm playing the point guard like I'm supposed to, you playing the shooting guard like you're supposed to, and God is our coach, guess what? We
We
don't have
winning.
no choice but to be successful because He can literally use us right where we are because we are finally accepting the role that we have in each other's life. The
Absolutely.
biggest problem I really see in our community is the African American men and the African American women are not treating each other as teammates, they're treating each other as opponents or
Yes.
opposition. Case in point, when you look at social media, the first thing that you see a lot of men say is there's no good black women.
And vice versa. Yep.
And same thing with the black women, there's no good
Mm-hmm.
black men. The more and more you keep spewing that narrative out, the more and more it's going to seem like that is the case. But let's twist that thing up. Let's switch it around. Let's change the way that we're looking at things and
Mm-hmm.
say, you know what? I just haven't found the right good man or the right good woman for me. And once you switch it up, switch that narrative, promise you, you're going to see success.
And you have to continue to also be that what you want to see. Because
Facts.
again, that goes back to what we were talking about previously. When you're your authentic self, you attract who is for you. Now, of course, you're going to get some people that might try you, but overall, that's why the Bible says don't get weary in well doing, because it will eventually pay off for your good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you have examples and stories of dating and you being the type of guy that you are. We're not going to get into that though, don't worry. You just having examples of stories of dating where you being the good guy that you are, you've had women attach themselves to you that took advantage of that.
I
But
can give
you
you one
continue to, oh, you got a
case in
story?
point.
Okay, this is
I
an
can give you
exclusive.
one case in point. One good one. There was a young lady that I was with that I was rocking with her pretty heavy. Like you couldn't tell me that wasn't wifey. I was sure that was the one. All that. We vibing, we cool, everything's right. I took her to a family, well, a birthday gathering for myself. But some of my cousins was there. This is her first time meeting my cousins. My younger cousin, which is also my god sister. I'm hopping in the car with her to head back to my godparents' house. I'm like, what you think of her? What you think of her? She's like, you want my honest opinion? I'm like, yeah, be honest. She says, baby girl ain't gonna be around for 2 more months. She
Wow.
said because of the simple fact of I'm watching her the whole time we was together around each other and we laughing, cracking jokes. She sitting there playing on her cell phone the whole time. She ain't even
Wow.
interested in the
Engaging.
conversation. She said
Mm,
even when you try to include her, she was doing her own thing. Well,
wow.
2 months later, we call it quits.
Wow.
A month after that, she is in a relationship with a good friend of mine. A month after that, they are engaged to be married. And
Wow.
months after that, they are married. And 7 months later, well, not 7 months, but a few months to years later, they have their first child. So it's like,
Wow.
I sit back and I'm like, wow, okay, okay, my cousin was spot on that. She was spot on that.
So everything happens for a reason, basically.
Oh, yeah,
Because you wouldn't be in a
definitely.
position you're in now if that had have panned out. So
Oh, yeah,
everything works out.
most definitely.
So how can we as Black women support you, Black men, in your mental health journey, being your peace, just creating that safe space for you all? How can we support you throughout your journey to make the load a little easier?
Here's how y'all can do it. It's one simple thing. Babe, how was your day? You would, those are simple words. Babe, how was your day? 5 words. They seem simple, they seem meaningless, but when I tell you, in all honesty, if you was to ask a black man, babe, how was your day? They would look at you like, ain't nobody ever asked me that.
Mm,
Because society has made it to where we are supposed to be on go, we supposed to be straight. Our day don't matter, we supposed to take care of the wife, take care of the kids, take care of the household. What we dealing with don't matter. Push it to the side, we'll deal with it later on.
right.
Be our peace, not our headache. And when I say be our peace, not our headache, I know a lot of women hear that, and the first thing they thinking is, "Oh, they just don't want to be confronted about the wrong that they're doing." No, if a man is doing wrong, call him out on it. But what I'm saying is, as soon as that man hits the door and comes into the house, you do not need to be bombarding him with hearsay, he say, she say. Because let's keep it all the way a buck and keep it 1,000. As African American men, we are already looked at as a threat by America. We're already oppressed by America. We are already looked at as lesser than by all of America. The only place we feel like a man at is in our own home, half the
Right.
time. So allow him to have that safe space. Because if you're not that safe space for him, like he will, we will find other avenues. And I'm not saying that it's right, but a lot of guys, a lot of little boys will find other avenues to find that safe space. but a real man. Instead of, for me, let me keep it honest. For me, if I'm feeling like I'm dealing with more arguing and more bickering than I am dealing with peace, I'm 34 years old. I'm almost 35. I'll walk away. I'm not dealing with a headache and drama in a relationship. When I'm dealing with headache and drama at work
Everywhere
and
else.
everywhere else.
Yeah.
The one place that I have control over it is in my own home. And I'll be darned if I deal with it in my own home.
So basically, you're saying that being your peace is allowing Superman to be Clark Kent and allowing Batman to be Bruce Wayne. And that
Exactly.
means to give you the space to be human, to make mistakes, to hang your coat up. Because when you go out into the world, biblically, you got to put on the full armor. So when you come home, you should be able to crumble from the pressure.
Exactly. Exactly. You hit it right on the head. Like, we
Okay.
are already dealing with enough in the world. We're not trying to deal with that at home.
Okay. So before we wrap up, I want you to take a moment to give the millennial generation some heartfelt advice.
Man. First off, heartfelt advice. If you want your mental health to get better, if you wanting your mental health to stay on point, on every Monday, continue to listen to the Blemish Beauty podcast. Because I promise you, your mental health will be better from listening to this podcast from my sister and hearing the nuggets that she is dropping. I promise you that. And there are many others. And the main thing that I encourage you is, look, to the men, let me let y'all in on something. Look, fellas, I know it's hard out there. I know it's hard. I know you feel like you're not seen. I know you feel like you're not heard. I know you feel like, man, this girl don't even respect what I'm doing. But show her a little bit of grace, my brother. Allow her that opportunity to be your safe space. Because let's be real, fellas. We're not always the easiest person to talk to. Because of the simple fact of we have a hard exterior of, no, I'm always going to be straight. Allow that woman to be your kryptonite for a hot second. Allow her
Mhm.
to be your weakness. Allow her to be your safe space. Allow her to be that woman that you don't have to keep a cape on for. Allow her to be your peace. And I promise you, once you keep God first, you allow your woman to be your peace, and you continue to listen to the Blemish Beauty podcast, you're going to see a lot of improvements in your mental health. I promise y'all that.
I love that, James. So before we end this conversation, I want to give you a moment to let everyone know where they can find you and get all of your useful information and your thousands and thousands of podcasts that you have. You could take your time now and do that.
Alright, so first off, shout out to my sister for allowing me to come on here. First place that you can find me at is on Real Talk Monday, REAL Talk Monday. That comes on at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on every major podcast station. On Tuesdays, it drops at 12 midnight on every podcast station. On Mondays, it's on Facebook and YouTube. On Saturdays, you can catch the Godly View. They are found on Facebook and YouTube, and their podcast drops on Sundays at 10 a.m. The sisters come on at 1 o'clock on every other Saturday. The brothers come on at 6 o'clock on every other Saturdays. Don't miss out on that. Also, you can catch me on After Soul Vibes with my family over there, and they come on Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. And also, if you don't feel like looking up all them Facebook pages, just go over to Reverend J's G3 Studios on Facebook, and every one of those podcasts that I just named, you will find them right over there on that podcast station. We appreciate you, and be on the lookout because my sister SheRa and I have been talking. We have something cooking up that we think that
We
y'all gonna
do.
love. So be on the lookout for that.
Thank you so much, James, for joining me and being my first guest. I'm so excited. I can't wait for this to air and everybody sees it. This is going to be awesome.
So before I leave out of here, this is what I want to do. If you are listening to this podcast on YouTube right now and you have not subscribed to my sister's YouTube channel, by the time this time next week, I want y'all to blow her mind with 20 new subscribers
I love that.
on her
Let's go,
YouTube
y'all.
channel.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this conversation that I had with my brother James. And as always, I want you guys to remember you are graced and gifted for a time such as this. You have purpose in this world, and you have been created to do great and amazing things. I will talk to you guys next time.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and don't forget to leave a review. You can follow SheRa on all major platforms and on YouTube at SheRa Renee 510. Until next time, spread love, show grace, and shine bright.